everyone. It is great to be here today and present of so many bright people and to share my point of view about the topic, which in simpler words, if you don't really understand the title, how generation wars and zodiac signs as stereotypes are stupid, and how they change our individuality. So 2 words, generations and zodiac signs, or you could say 3 words. What do they have in common? You might say that they have nothing in common, but actually one of the things they have are stereotypes. So I would just like to ask for a quick show of hands. How many people of you have heard either generations or zodiac signs? So not so many people, but me personally, I heard a lot of people talk about this. So this is why I chose this topic. So stereotypes. People are often forced to defend their perspective or fit into the stereotypes written by others when they hear such phrases as Gen Z are lazy or Scorpios are mean, which are completely not true and can be scientifically proven, because a person can't just change when they were born. But why do we even think about what kind of subcategory we are part of? Sorry? Why do we do this? Just why, and why? So to some of you who don't know a lot or know a lot about generations, generations are gaps of 20 to 30 years with people who share similar cultural, historical, and social events. Some of the most well-known generations are baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, also known as millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and now Gen Beta. So zodiac signs are another type of stereotypes. They are 12 astrological signs which are used to give a person traits which are not true. For example, people might say that one zodiac has this trait and one zodiac has another trait. So I asked people out of my class about what do they think about and how they feel towards stereotypes regarding their generation and zodiac sign. So as we can see, 6 out of 8 people thought that they don't feel good when people say bad stereotypes about their generation, and only half thought the same about zodiacs, which is just some data to throw into this presentation. So I have 3 points today to prove what are the good things about generations and stereotypes, and what are the negative sides, because everything in the world has a good side and a bad side, and nothing is just pure evil or pure good. So my first point is that zodiacs and generations have nothing to do with us, because, for example, 10 days ago, I went upon a source on social media which said that according to my zodiac sign, I should be either a gardener or a lawyer, which are not connected to one's major interests or priorities. Another thing is, for example, common jobs for Gen Z, which, as you can see, there are photographers, models, artists, and I'm not going to read all of them. But, for example, as a part of this generation, I don't relate to this, and my friend Zaina, who was before me, she also doesn't relate to this common jobs, and she actually, like me, wants to have another one. But everything has also a good point, because even though it might seem as if I'm just going to talk bad stuff about generations and stereotypes, about zodiac signs, there's also some good sides. For example, according to the social identity theory, first proposed by Henry Touchfell and John Turner, every person feels better when they can feel like they belong to the society, or that they can feel more comfortable with them. For example, I might feel better if I can share some traits with, for example, my zodiac sign, like stubbornness or, for example, trustworthiness, because I just feel better that way, and I can relate to some memes of my generation and other trends which can also be similar to mine. So conclusion. So basically, stereotypes regarding generation wars and zodiac signs, and just them in general, can be both positive but negative. But actually, this is not a conclusion. So the positive scenario, as I said before, people will just live happily. But we're not in a world like this, unfortunately, so there's also 2 negative points. So the first negative point is that people will have to blend in with the people around them and just become what other people want them to become. What maybe other people, they don't like this generation or zodiac sign in particular. So they force these people to blend in and maybe become, and maybe have worser behaviors. So my second negative scenario is that maybe a person will try to use zodiac signs and generation traits to kind of have a shield upon them. For example, say that, that's not me, that's just my generation. Or that's not me, that's just my zodiac trait. Which is not true, and we should never do that. So I have actual conclusion, and I know that maybe some of you are happy that I'm finished with this topic, but I believe that zodiac signs and generations can be positive and cool as long as we don't use them to make people feel worse about themselves or to make people blend in and become less like themselves. So this is all I wanted to say for today. Thank you, and I hope I changed your thoughts.